a good example of e-government from Ukraine, namely Jaanika Merilo, from advisor to the mayor of Lviv. Welcome.
Yes, if I can borrow the mic, thank you. Well, we have been speaking a lot about what could be done in Ukraine, but I'd like to give a short presentation on what has been done in Ukraine. And especially, I can probably use this mic if I'm not gonna run around the scene. But Lviv is probably the most advanced IT city in Ukraine, and we have piloted most of the technologies that has been piloted in Ukraine. The level is very different. State level is different from the cities level. And some of the cities have a lot of initiative to launch, pilot, and scale up very good projects. And I'd like to give you some real-life examples of what has been done, what can be done, and what could be scaled. And it is very much related to our previous discussions on transparency and so on. So, why are we doing e-government? I very much like to relate to the idea that e-government creates transparency, it decreases corruption. There is a straight correlation between the development of e-government and the level of corruption. The higher is the level of implementation of e-government, the lower is the corruption. So we do understand that to make processes automatic, make processes transparent, to decrease the human factor, it increases the efficiency and transparency of the whole process. So we have been talking about reforms, but I think one of the most efficient ways to make reform is to change the system. To change the system non-dependent on people, on their certain decisions, and to make it automatic. And certainly the priority is to make life simpler for people. We can say that we can make processes transparent, like the document management, like the open budget and so on, but I think it all comes down to people, meaning offering these services to people of Ukraine. And so it happens that it needs certain will to change, certain political will, certain openness to development, to innovation, and all this combined can transfer into reforms. So it happened that in Lviv there is a certain match of political willingness to make the change, of openness to new technology, and a very good young team who has implemented it all. And as a result, in the third biggest city in Ukraine, with 15,000 IT specialists, we have launched, for example, Bank ID. We have spoken about Bank ID. We have piloted it with two banks which are the biggest banks in Ukraine actually. One is commercial bank, one is a state-owned bank. And all these two banks are representing approximately 70% of the market, which means approximately 5 million people. But how to expand it further? Meaning if the people don't have internet bank, they don't want to use internet bank, internet penetration is so-so, let's say not so high, approximately 60%, which means we don't want this digital divide really, that most advanced people who are using internet bank have access. But we should expand it further, we think. This is why we have piloted mobile ID. It is still very much in laboratory phase, meaning that we have just piloted it, but are expanding it. And the mobile ID includes authorization and identification. It also includes digital signature. But, of course, we are very far away from implementing the digital signature and really using it in all levels of authorities, meaning that every authority or government division, company, ministry will accept it, will know how to accept it, but still, we think it's important to expand it to all possible technologies that are easily acceptable, easily usable by people. And we have mobile phone penetration of 100% basically. I have 2 mobile phones, let's say. So it's a very accessible tool for everyone to have the services through mobile phone. Of course, digital signature. Approximately 2 million people in Ukraine have digital signatures. They're using it usually for tax reports. It's not so much. We have almost 40 million inhabitants, but still, it's a very daily use mechanism or daily use tool to have a digital signature. of course, we have all the transparency tools which you mentioned, the open budget, that you can see how the government or the city resources are used. You can also see, based on different projects or spendings, on how is it exactly used, not by big bunch, let's say 2 billion on roads, but also see more precisely on what roads, by what decision, who has voted for this decision, where are all the spendings, let's say, located, and so on. So I would just want to say that pretty much has piloted already also in Ukraine, that we understand the importance of innovation, transparency, services, efficiency, and so on. It is more a matter of expanding it, meaning that one thing is to pilot it, and to pilot it in small city and to have it in laboratory. Other thing is to scale it up in the government level, to have the legislation in place, to have the supporting network. It means also, for example, that people have access to computers. They know how to use computers. They have certain digital skills. We have certain security levels. We have enterprise bus, for example, that we can access different registries. We have, for example, government portal that integrates all the systems. There are so many components yet that are not in the place, meaning that we understand the importance of innovation. We very much match your thinking in regards to bank ID, and we think the same way probably. But still, I think it's an extremely good time to enter or to consider entering Ukraine, because we already understand the importance of e-government, the importance of innovation, the importance of changing the systems and the processes, but we yet don't have it in all of the government level, in all the ministries, all the cities, all the municipalities. There is so much work to be done. So I'd like to invite you to Ukraine to innovate it together, really. Thank you.